All right, listen here, Robert Cooper. We got business to attend to. Listen up. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That was very enthusiastic. Listen, I'm going to be gone for a little bit, but when I come back, we got three albums. We got three albums we need to talk about just in the month of April. So I'm going to come back as soon as I can from the Jonas Exodus. I might come back a little bit earlier just to do these albums so they're not completely old by the time we get to them. But listen here, all right? You ready? You understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Right.
You ready for this? All right.
Yeah.
Fucking Facebook. Come on. Googly. Schmagegi. Hot and pepper. Schmagegi. Googly.
Yeah.
Damn it. Here we go. All right. I just posted to Facebook the Metal Hammer of Doom wish list for April. Steel Panther, All You Can Eat, released April 1st, 2014. Austrian Death Machine, Triple Brutal, April 1st, 2014. And Tuomas Halopainen of Nightwish, music inspired by the life and times of Scrooge, April 11th, 2014. We are doing all three of these albums when I come back. Do you understand me? And if you do them while I'm gone, I'm coming to North Carolina. I'm going to knock on your door. I'm going to punch you in the face and yell, "Not funny." And then I'm going to get back on the plane and go home.
Well, I guess I better make the time in April when you're gone super serious.
Hello, everyone. You are, in fact, listening to the Metal Hammer of Doom podcast. I am your host, a mandated reporter, and frankly, I've been up since 3 a.m., Mark Radulich. And to my right, my virtual right, because this is a podcast and we're in two different states, is the author of the original Hammer of Doom news column for 401 Mania's Music Zone, and podcaster in his own right. He will be the interim host while I am on the Jonas Exodus. He is the man, the myth, the legend, the sports aficionado, and the other brother from another mother, Mr. Robert Cooper. How do you do?
I do pretty good. You know, I'm kind of proud. You know, I've moved into the very odd and dysfunctional the other mother family of the Radulich household. With me and Pat Mullen. It's pretty wonderful.
I
mean, hey, if you ask Teasley, I'm apparently the hardest working man on the internet because I do like 5 podcasts a week. So
you are the James Brown of nerd podcasts. That is very true. But I have two lists, Robert Cooper. There's the list of future ex-Mrs. Raduliches, of which Jessamine Duke is one of them. Yes, that's right. I have laid claim to Jessamine Duke. She will be mine, and then I will lose her. That is how it must be. My wife is perfectly okay with, my actual wife is perfectly okay with all of this. And I have a list of brothers from other mothers. And you have made that list, my friend. You are a brother from another mother. Hey, speaking of Austrian Death Machine, Tim Lembastis of As I Lay Dying and Austrian Death Machine itself decided that he is, in fact, guilty of attempted murder. What's up with that, Robert Cooper?
Well, as I said before the show, I've been pretty much from week one, I have been reporting on this, quote unquote, as about as serious as reporting as my monkey ass can do. This is a long time coming, really, because from the first week, he was pretty much been caught dead to rights, and he was screwed because they have him on tape, on camera. They have his voice telling this apparent sting. What do you call it, sting agent? Yeah, this agent giving him money, telling him to kill his wife, giving him a picture, giving him codes to the neighborhood, telling him where they live, what times to be doing it, and this was all on camera with Mike, everything. And then he even was like, "Oh yeah, I'll have the kids at that time, so you can go ahead and do it." But like the dude is caught, and he had two defenses. One, I think, was roid rage. That was actually the second one. The first one was, her brother. Well, he works for the sheriff's department, so he's got it out for me. They were doing this and making it up and trying to get me in jail so she'll get the kids because we're having marital troubles. Oh, fucking idiot. Yeah, he is. Unlike Randy Blythe last year.
Did he say it that way? Did he actually do all that breathing and everything that you just did?
I am very sure. He was having steroid withdrawals at the time, so it is. I have no doubt that is what happened.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, unlike with Randy Blythe a few years ago, where the first week I was just like I was really kind of torn up about it because I thought it was a lot more serious on his part than it was. It was honestly just an accident and a kid being stupid. Whereas at first I thought he, was way too aggressive. This I was like, yeah, I don't want to judge Tim Lambesis, but this dude's pretty fucked. Like it wasn't even like I wasn't mad. I was just disappointed. Like, really, bro? I mean, I'm not a huge Adelaide Dying guy, but I always thought Austrian Death Machine was kind of silly and fun and enjoyable. I guess it's a good thing that this went ahead and he's done with it, so he can go ahead and serve his alleged 9-year sentence and pay like $10,000 or some shit. I don't know. I mean,
so I'm gonna go ahead and assume that Austrian Death Machine's not touring.
Well, I am. I mean, hey, they can call me. I can do a pretty good Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation, and I am buckly proficient at screaming. So there we go.
Maybe you should send them a message to call you maybe.
They'll be like, hey, heard your podcast. I can't go any farther than that.
So
like
I
gravy?
just really want to... So we just went over the schedule of albums we're going to do as soon as I'm able to get back on here and podcast. If I can sneak one or two in during the Exodus, I will. But at the very least, we'll start doing these in June. However, I really quickly want to talk about next week. Now, in 2 weeks, our podcast, the March 11th podcast, because it's a lead into why I'm woefully unprepared for tonight's podcast. And that is, as I was scanning for news, I'm what you call an aggregator. I aggregate news, and occasionally I will comment on it. Yes. I see what you did there, because it sounds like... Anyway. So as I'm looking for news, I happen to check out Metal Injection's posts on Body Count, who, if you don't know who Body Count are, you should first know that Body Count is, in fact, in the house, Body Count. Number 2, Body Count is Ice-T's thrash metal band. And we're going to talk about this at length in 2 weeks. But apparently, not only are they putting out a new album this year, and who the fuck thought Body Count was still around? But they're also going to be on this year. They're also going to be on this year's Rockstar Mayhem tour, and
which isn't coming to Florida.
Which is not coming to Florida. The closest it's coming is Georgia, but nonetheless.
Why me too?
Yeah, well, no North Carolina, right?
No, fuck them, assholes.
Yeah. So I'm hoping they add additional dates. Like a second leg of the tour, because they usually go through like August and September. Well, we'll see. I'm not saying all hope is lost just yet. In any case, news broke that Body Count is going to be on this year's Rockstar Mayhem tour. And when I tell you that I ran around with no pants on, screaming like a girl, that would only be a slight exaggeration. I couldn't believe it. I'm so excited, I don't know what to do with myself. So I have spent the last week listening to the old Body Count albums, and I did that instead of listening to Grand Magus. So
that made me sad.
So hang on, you can ridicule me in just a moment, because I deserve it. But in 2 weeks, we are gonna actually do a Body Count retrospective. So you need to come back March 11th, because on the Metal Hammer of Doom, Body Count's in the house, motherfuckers. Oh, and if you haven't seen Silly Radulich yet, you ain't seen nothing. I'm gonna break out the old school. I'm gonna go deep, 20 years back. I'm gonna dig into the past. of my psyche, and it's going to be all high school, all junior high, all elementary school, all over again, Robert Cooper. What you going to do when homeboy Radulich runs wild on you?
Probably be doing the same thing I was doing at the time you were in high school, shitting my pants.
I believe that's a really good introduction to the band we're going to talk about tonight. Grand Magus, why don't you tell us all? Why don't you tell us
you wouldn't
all
know anything about them.
I know nothing about Grand Magus. So I'm going to get off my high horse, and I'm going to hand the reins over to Robert Cooper, and he's going to tell you about the Grand Poobah.
Yes, the Grand Poobah. Grand Magus, they're a band that I discovered 2 years ago when I stole the CD out of the Terrorizer.
What?
You know the Terrorizer magazine, right? The metal magazine, and it says it comes with a free CD. And they got them at the
Buy the magazine, Robert Cooper. Wait a minute now.
Well,
hang on. Stop the podcast. Hold the press. No. See, who are you? 24601. This ain't Les Miserables. This ain't fucking France. You can't run around stealing bread. You took a CD out of a magazine?
Yeah. Did introduce me to good music. So,
no,
I mean, technically, I'm committing a crime.
I want to talk about your questionable moral aptitude here. Why did you steal a CD out of a magazine? Why didn't you just buy the magazine like you were supposed to? What if some other kid What if some other kid went to the store and bought that magazine, hoping to get the CD, and then your monkey ass stole it? How do you think that kid feels?
He's a dumbass because I put it in the back. And if he goes and grabs the one out of the back instead of the one in the front, he's a dumbass.
I'm very disappointed in you, Robert.
Not to mention it wasn't in there. Well, I know. I mean, I do feel bad about it, and I don't do it anymore. Mainly because I have the internet.
You found other more effective ways to steal music?
Oh, yeah, and it's a whole lot less personal.
All right. So get back to your stolen music.
I stole the CD out of the Terrorizer, and I'm listening through it, and there's some really awesome stuff. Like, I think that CD had like Vesperian Sorrow. That's another album. That's another band I discovered through them. But then the title track off the last album, The Hunt, came, and it was stuck in my head for like a week. So I'm like, shit, I got to look this album up. And then I looked it up, and what do you know? It became one of my favorite albums of 2012. So good. Like, there's a lot. It was almost like Manowar-ish in some of the cheesier themes. It's definitely a lot more Manowar-ish this time. But that one, it had a lot of really fast and catchy and hooky beats, and I really, really enjoyed it. And it had like a little mix, enough doom in it to make it kind of slow things down a bit, but it also had a lot of the traditional metal edge and a little bit of power metal thrown in there for good measure. It was really good. And then what I came to find out once I got really into Grand Magus is that they have like 4 other albums that I still haven't listened to because I haven't stole those CDs out of Terrorizer. But they're really good albums. Like, apparently it is very hard to go wrong with Grand Magus. And apparently the man who's playing the home game, Jesse Starcher, he found out, he didn't know about this band, but he knew about the singer JB Christofferson's other band, Spiritual Beggars, which is fronted by arch-enemy guitarist Michael Amott.
No, I have heard really Spiritual Beggars. Yeah, Spiritual Beggars are quite good. I have heard them before. Yeah,
so you might have heard JB Christofferson's voice. He is awesome.
I think he's possible.
It is, yeah, he's awesome. That band is awesome. But Grand Magus are a little... I never really compared them to Manowar until this album, because this album smells of Manowar because it's really cheesy, and it slowed down a lot. Like, the last album, I doubt you remember it when we did our top 5 of 2012. You remember when you chose an album from 2010. But yeah, I had a song by them on there.
Like I like to do.
Yeah, yes, you do. I can't wait for the top 10 of our top 5 of 2014 where you pick one from 2002.
Now here's a band that's up and coming that I think is going to go far. Metallica.
Oh yeah, That's Saint Anger. But yeah, I had their song Starlight Slaughter on there, and it was awesome because it had, really catchy opening beat. It had a lot of like a gallop to it, a lot of drive, and then it had a lot of really catchy choruses, which is something that these bands like these do really well, really catchy choruses. So it's some good incentive to listen. This album has that too. It's just a little short. It's the thing is, you ever listen to an album, you're like, this is missing something. Like, it's still good, but it's missing something.
And this one was missing length.
Well, I mean, it was missing length, but also the things that come with it, like, some extended solos, and, well, also a faster speed, because a lot of these are kind of mid-tempo, which, you know me, I love me some old slow doom and whatnot, but I do like what Grand Magus did on their last album, which was give a lot of a lot of faster songs, but then throw in some, they had like 2 or 3 slow songs, then they had one that sounded like it was a straight-up, like, psychedelic intro, which was awesome.
Okay. Let's go ahead now. This is going to be a little bit different than what we normally do. Normally, both of us are familiar enough with the album that, we're hearing it a second or a third time on the podcast and we're commenting on it. Robert has obviously had the opportunity to be familiar with this album. I'll be hearing it for the first time, so what you'll get is some expert analysis from Robert Cooper and my immediate reaction. So if at some point this is like Black Sabbath and I just go, fuck this, I can't take it anymore, that'll be why. All right, so here we go. Here is track 1. We're doing it live! Here we go. Track 1. This is On the Hooves of Gold. ride the wind, never coming back until I touch the midnight sun. Ride the wind, never coming back, ride the wind, never coming back till I touch the midnight sun. Is that how the next part goes?
No, I don't even know what song that is.
Oh, you disappoint me for the last time.
Well.
No, I can expect more disappointments from you. That was Ride the Wind by Poison.
Oh, I like Poison.
Yeah, ride the wind, never coming back until I touch the midnight sun.
See, I would make jokes if that were Motley Crue. I'd be like, oh, I'm trying to touch the midnight sun. So, I see what happened after Vince Neil got a pilot's license.
Anyway,
seriously, when I found that out, I was afraid. I was like, oh, fuck. You see what that man can do behind a car. It's not like he's exactly calmed down with the drinking. He's still got arrested for DUI lately.
Well, hopefully he won't get a DUF. Fuck, I fucked that joke up.
Driving under flight?
Let's see. It should have been an FUI, flying under the influence.
Oh, you're good. You're good. We got it. We got the gist of it. It's a good try.
Yeah,
the
problem here is that I'm drinking. The problem here is that I'm drinking tonight. No, all right. So that's not a bad song. It's a good introduction to the album. And sort of a moderately paced song. Had a very slow gallop to it. Not bad. Not bad. Tell me about the song.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good way to put it. This is actually one of my favorites of the album. I feel like it was almost like a nice little homage to some of the themes of the last album, which was a lot of werewolves. Yeah, my favorite song off that album, "Son of the Last Breath," is about baby turning into a werewolf. You know, a guy turning into a werewolf and counting down the days. Oh, pretty awesome. That album is great, by the way. If you want to go listen to a Grand Magus album, go look up The Hunt. The Hunt. It's great. Not saying this album isn't.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a fair summation of this song. It does have a very nice pace to it. There's a pretty good solo at the end, which again is a problem with this album. I think the solos are kind of few and far between. Not to mention there's 10 tracks, including 2 of them that are like 2-minute instrumentals.
Oh, goody.
Well, I mean, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it is. That is a bit problematic. I mean, hell, one of my favorite albums, Nightfall by Candlemass, has a total of like 3 minute and a half interludes on like a 10-track album.
Okay.
But
so,
they make up for it.
You have a choice with this next song. I can either say that it was written by Joe Rogan, and that'll be a joke about how he always says that steel sharpens steel, or I can say that this next song was written by the DC comic book hero Steel. You pick.
Ooh.
Which joke do you want me to go with?
Ooh, so one we're going to go with, oh, it's tight, and the other one we're getting Shaquille O'Neal playing a mediocre TV version of the hero. So
that is correct.
I'm going to say that this is close, and the fight's almost over, and Joe Rogan.
All right. This is track 2. This is Steel versus Steel. Okay, a couple things before we even talk about this song. Jesse Starcher has graduated from Radulich and Broadcasting and Casual Heroes superfan to honorary producer.
Steelers.
So, if you're listening to this podcast live, none of this will make any sense. But if you are presently listening to this podcast in the archives and you're wondering why the picture for Grand Magus is the comic book version of Steel against the movie version of Shaquille O'Neal's Steel, blame Jesse Starcher, who started photobombing me. I make a joke, he takes the joke and runs with it. He is the podcast running back of the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, man. I just pitch it to him, and he zips downfield with it. So he's a hamburger. All these different pictures. He sent us in all these different pictures, and I had to stifle my laughter because I didn't want to laugh in the middle of a song. But I bow to you, Jesse Starcher. You make it all worthwhile. All right, so let's get back to Steel versus Steel. Here's what I'm noticing about Grand Magus. Have I never heard them before? Didn't know anything about it. It was just totally coming into this cold. One of the things that comes across immediately is that they're pretty theatrical. They're one of these, I can picture them kind of taking command of the stage, and it's not just a couple of guys playing songs. It comes across, their music comes across like a theatrical performance, and this song was a really good example of that.
Yeah, that's where I kind of feel like comparing them to Manowar is kind of fair, since Manowar are very similar in that right. Though, I feel like their last album, again, I keep going back to that last album. Sorry, guys, I know comparing things is a pain in the ass, but their last one was also very much like this. And it was almost a little more, a little different because they did tend to, they varied in speed at times. So, like, that song, Son of the Last Breath, started really, when I was talking about the werewolves, started like 3 minutes, kind of quiet, and, just kind of quiet and almost somber. And then it speeds up, and you hear some timpanis go, and then it starts building, and then it just hits a really fast and heavy just part and just goes on for the rest of the song until the next song, which is just balls to the wall fast. But yeah, they're very theatrical. I think I chalked it up to JB Christofferson, the vocalist. I love him. No homo. Well, then again, if it were homo, I couldn't get service in Arizona. But anyways, I had to get that in there. That was funny. I laughed. But
yeah.
But yeah, I love that man's vocals. He was great in Spiritual Beggars. He's on the latest Ayreon album, which I haven't listened to. It's Ayreon's like a really crazy progressive metal band.
Yeah.
And they get,
first of all, their songs are longer than the State of the Union. And you want to talk about noodling. This is one of those.
Yes.
If you're in high school and you just want to hang out, you bring a girl into your room and you're just kind of listening to music in the dark and you just want to chill, maybe smoke some pot. Not advocating for it. I'm just saying that's what the kids do. That's the band to do it to. Jesus Christ. They are the spiritual successors to Pink Floyd. Ayreon's music is crazy, not just progressive in the Dragon Force sense, but progressive in the old acid rock, just zipping in, and it just goes on forever, and the very, very unwieldy structure, and that's not necessarily a denigration of the music. It's actually more of a compliment. It would be, again, if you've ever sat and listened to some old Pink Floyd and the music just kind of sort of goes off into the ether, now imagine Rush did the same kind of music. That's Ayreon.
Yeah, he was on the last album. That's another thing I thought was really impressive with Ayreon. I heard a song from it, and that in the Ayreon they use different singers for different characters. It is a straight up concept album, and I think he played the character of the Wizard or something like that. But I was like, oh, JB Christofferson. Especially when you hear the dude get really, deep, it's awesome. Dude has a very mellow voice. I always find that I always find that when it comes to, power metal, even though I do love like Blind Guardian, which is a lot of higher notes. Like bands like Sabaton and Grand Magus that have almost more of like a mellow, lower tone singer. I always tend to gravitate more towards him. I don't know if it's because I can sing better with it or what, but it always seems to catch me more.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and move on to track 3. I don't have a joke for this because this song the title of this song is the title of at least a dozen others. This is called Fight. Children of the grave, yeah.
I wouldn't quite say that.
Oh, I would. How did you not hear Children of the Grave in there?
Because it wasn't at the same speed. Not to mention, I've heard that beat like 1,000 times.
Maybe I'm more familiar with the cover of it from Nativity in Black Part 1, but that's totally what that reminded me of. Okay, who did it? Was that White Zombie who did Children of the Grave? I'm gonna look it up.
I think he sent it to me once. Yeah, I mean this was one of my favorite songs of the album. It's not my favorite because this is what a lot of like the last album was, like a lot faster. But no, the songs didn't all sound like Sabbath covers. Hell, I didn't really hear the Sabbathy until you said it. Now I'm like, yeah, it does kind of remind me of the sped up part in Children of the Grave. So, I mean, hey, if you could sound like anybody, Sabbath's not a bad place to start.
Well, especially old Sabbath, because if you sound like new Sabbath, I'm going to take a shit all over you, like a German porn video.
Well, technically, didn't you say new Sabbath just sounds like old Sabbath, just not as good?
Either way, it was getting shit on.
I liked it.
We've had that podcast.
That was that podcast as a whole. Yeah, this is shit. I don't really like it. I'm like, that was pretty good. And John's like, yeah, that was pretty good. Like, shut up, Sean. He's like, I'm good.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. I love that movie. The movie's so wonderful.
I just watched it today with Lily. I got up at like 3 o'clock in the morning because I went to bed angry with my wife over something, which is I'm not going to get into now, but it was like that. I was angry about, I was having issues with the WWE Network. It was pissing me off. And so I woke up like in the middle of the night, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make use of my time. And I went and downloaded the digital version of Frozen for Lily. So when I came home tonight, I was like, oh, I have a surprise for you. And she's like, a present for me? Boy, she says it. Like, yeah, and we watched Frozen. She was very happy.
That's so adorable. I got home, I got yelled at. Typical day.
Did you not take out the garbage again?
No. I mean, what did I do this time?
Why is the theme song to Robert Cooper's music actually "Do You Want to Get Rocked" by Def Leppard?
I don't listen to enough Def Leppard to even know what that song sounds like.
Clean up the trash, tidy your room. I suppose the rock's out of the question. I'm gonna look at the lyrics. I'm gonna sing it to you.
Oh, that's great. Well, yeah, I mean that kind of is. Hell, the Yakety Yak song will be pretty close too. No,
I think I've actually made that joke before. I think I've actually said that, like, for some odd reason, your life resembles the song Yakety Yak.
I wouldn't be surprised. Sometimes.
All right, here we go. Get your butt right out of bed. Stop bugging me. Get up and move your sleepy head. Don't shake my tree. He said, mow the lawn. Through me. Walk the dogs. Not my style, man. Take out the trash. No way. Tidy your room. Come on, get real. Sorry, Dad. Gotta disappear. Let's get the rock out of here. You ever say that to your parents? You ever say, let's get the rock out of here?
No, she'd probably look at me and get pissed off because I made a reference she didn't get. I do that a lot, and it makes her mad because she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's a joke. She goes, I'm not in the mood. I'm like, you're never in the mood. And that usually gets me yelled at more.
All right, I'm going to do something I would normally never do on a podcast, especially one where prior to it starting I was like, listen, I don't mind if you do this to somebody else, and I can go to bed. I'm going to play that song again. And then I'm going to play a comparative song so that I can make my point and we can go to final judgment. All right, so here's Fight again. Okay, now here's Children of the Grave by White Zombie. I rest my case.
I can see it.
The same damn song.
Oh, it's the same damn song. It's
very, very
clean,
close.
And if fucking Ice Ice Baby and Under Pressure are not the same song, that is not the same song. And I'm not saying
if that is
the Grand Magus and the Black Sabbath are even close to that.
I was going to say, if that is the bar we're using, then I think we need to end this podcast because neither one of us.
No, I'm not using that bar. I'm just saying that we're not even close to that bar. I'm just saying if that bar is not the same song, this sure as hell isn't.
All right. The transition to the next song, I want to read the following. My babysitter once actually poured actual sugar on me.
I love Jesse.
Because she did not like that song. She was uber religious and did not like what it was about. I was like 9 or 10. I had no clue what it was actually about. That's
Jesus.
funny. I just pour some sugar on me. I'll pour some sugar on you, you heathen bastard.
Because you're going to hell.
Hell, sugary hell for you.
For the dentist or ill.
Yep. That's DCF right there. That's how you scar a child. Speaking of scar children, here is Triumph and Power, track 4. Okay, that's badass right there. First of all, I feel like that belongs in a rock opera. You know, that needs to be performed on Broadway in front of very elderly people who don't get it. That's a pretty powerful song right there. I mean, it's a little slower than I tend to enjoy, but it's got enough balls to it that I could actually, like, you know, I could put it on my running mix and feel like, okay, yeah, Triumph and Power. All right, I dig that.
See? And this is actually the first song that I heard on this album, so I was really excited because that chorus is so fucking catchy.
You mean on your stolen album?
No, I didn't steal it. No, the one I stole.
Oh no, sorry. The very first one's the one. The sampler is the one that you stole. I apologize. Sorry.
Yeah, I stole that in 2012. That's right. I haven't stolen an album out of the Terrorizer in over a year and a half. I'm 18 months clean.
All right, Triumph and Power. That's the first song you heard on this album. Go.
What?
Ugh.
Sorry, somebody popped into my room.
The first song you heard on this album was Triumph and Power. Tell me about it. How did it make you feel? Did it get you right in the cockles? What's going on here?
Oh, yeah, it's a fucking badass song. It was just really powerful and awesome and glorious. And all that. Yeah. Hold on, moving rooms. Shit. Dark. Really dark. Really dark in this house.
Okay. Well, while you tend to your home or your cat or whatever it is you're doing, I'm going to go ahead and play track 5. This is Dominator. Jesse Starcher, who is at home playing the home game of the Metal Hammer of Doom. He thinks this is the weakest song on the album. What do you have to say to him?
I wouldn't say the weakest. This is by far the cheesiest. Like, I like the driving beats that it has going, but when you listen to the lyrics, you're like, like, I want to make the joke that this is the...
It seems like his issue was that they were rhyming everything with Ator.
Yeah, well, they do, like Eviscerator. And, yeah. It makes me want to say that this is the theme song for Ron Simmons, ... as the Gladiator.
Okay.
I mean, the Dominator, right? Remember that time they dressed him up as a gladiator?
Our honorary producer has degenerated into just sending me single words now. Aggregator, vibrator,
yes.
Dominator. It's going on and on and on.
Masticator.
Masturbator.
So I was thinking masticator, because that just means chewing.
So, I mean, I didn't think it was bad. I mean, I guess you can say it's the weakest song on here. But,
it's like, I liked the beat. I liked where it started. And then as I started listening to it, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is cheesy. And as for Triumph and Power, sorry, my mom popped in the room and said, I'm trying to sleep, asshole. She didn't say that. She's like, wrap it up, I'm trying to sleep. So now I'm in the laundry room. Triumph and Power was awesome.
You podcast from a basement.
Yeah, oh no, not even the basement. It's the add-on to the house, which has no like temperature control. Well, it does. It has a heater, but when it gets hot, I'm screwed. You don't remember when we did Iced Earth? I was like, yeah, I'm straight from podcasting straight from my laundry room.
No, but I have this picture of you now, like you've got a ski cap on and a scarf and woolly mittens, and you're just kind of rocking in a chair. I'm so cold.
Yeah, actually, what happened one night, I was like, fuck, it's cold in here. And then my internet connection kept cutting off, because this room is isolated from the rest of the house, because more or less, so the internet connection sucks. So I'm like, fuck, it's cold in here.
I think you should go all Napoleon Dynamite on your mom. Like, I'm doing a podcast, Mom.
God. Well, see, if I did that every time, it'd get tiring because after the fifth night in a row, she'd be like, fuck you, go to bed. Triumph and Power was an awesome song because it was another mid-paced one that had just so much fucking balls in that chorus. And it will stick in your mind for a week and another week. You'll just be in for the power and the glory. And he's like, spoils of war, and just over and over. I could run to that. Hell, then again, when I did running, back in the day, that was a year ago, when I had a gym class, I'd throw an Aim on the Marth all day. That is great gym music, just because it's so manly and Viking and heavy. Yeah.
I agree. Okay, this next one, number 6 here, because Robert apparently has to go to bed before his mom yells at him.
But I could be in here all night as long as I don't wake her up again.
So we're going to play this one, but we have to be very, very quiet. Robert's mom is sleeping. This is track 6. This is Arv. I don't know if that gets any better, but it sounds like some junior high school kid's guitar lesson.
Yeah, that's kind of sort of how it rolls. I thought it was kind of a weird fit. I was like,
yeah, that's
one of 10 songs. Yeah, that's one of 10. So I'm like, damn, I know 10 songs is a lot for some bands. Still, this thing barely pushes over 40 minutes.
that's like when like Typo Negative has, you know, a song of just silence or random noise or some shit. That's what that was like. So we're gonna go right into number 7. This is Home Gang. Oh my, that started good and went off the rails real quick. What the hell, man?
I didn't mind it.
Whoa.
It was,
that was rough. I don't like the way he was singing that at all. That's why I stopped it. I'm like, it's a shorter song, so I couldn't play that much of it anyway without risking being sued. But I don't like the rhythm of that. I don't like the way he was singing it. That seemed very off-putting to me. But go ahead. You said it wasn't. You didn't mind it.
I mean, I thought it was okay. Like it's the payoff to that weird ass instrumental we just got. I thought it was a solid song. It wasn't anything too amazing. It's just one of those. I was like, oh, okay. Like, you know, if I listen to the album again, it's kind of quick and painless. So I'd get through it. But there wasn't anything really to write home about. I didn't find it that off-putting or bad. But then again, this is coming from Mr. Black Metal here, so.
Fair enough. All right. We've got about 4 minutes left of the podcast. Not sure if we're going to get all these in before it's over. If we go off the air while we're still playing music, you can go back and we'll be done in about probably 20 to 30 more minutes, depending on how long the overrun goes. And, you know, Robert needs a good 15 to 20 minutes to plug all of his podcasts, so we'll see what happens. So
I'm the reason people go into overrun.
I will say this, though. If Blog Talk Radio puts its foot down and says Robert Cooper is no longer allowed to spend an hour plugging shows, we ain't doing another show, okay? I don't know what the hell you and Teasley were thinking about, but I ain't doing another show just for plugs. No, sir.
Oh, that was hilarious. No, that was... No, it kind of you just should have named the show Robert and Jason Plug Shows. It would have that would have made no sense. I wanted to call it the Plugcast. It got more listens than the main show too. That's the best part. But he's like, yeah, let's just go ahead and finish up what you're doing. I'm like, well, what do we have left? He goes, well, we're gonna do plugs. I'm like, are we really just gonna do 15 minutes of plugs? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm down. I always love talking about what I'm doing. That was weird though.
You should have put like a picture of a plug on there and then called it a Plugcast. That would have been funnier and made more sense. Speaking of funny and made more sense,
plug.
There you go. This is The Naked and the Dead. Yeah, pick up change, motherfucker. Bodies laid down in the mud. Mercy never came on this day. For the naked and the dead, there's no glory or reward to be had. Do the pizza maker. Live by willpower alone, 'cause the body's just a shell of flesh and blood. clobbering time.
Deep to the ground. There are times you realize how the pain can change your life. Begging fools who surely pay the price. No better rules to end the strife. You have to twist and bend in life. The mind is what defines a warrior. Yeah!
Now we're talking, Robert Cooper. That was my bag right there.
See, you'd have loved the last album then, because it was a lot of that. Yeah,
that was just very stripped down, very punky. You know, Jason Teasley tells me he's doing the Beavis and Butthead dance right now on the home game, so there you go.
Well, that's good. You know, maybe next time we'll do 15 minutes of the Beavis and Butthead dance.
Sure.
I don't know what happened. It booted Teasley, booted me, and then we're both trying to log in to shut the show off, and it's like, fuck you. I'm not having any of it. But yeah,
that's what happened to last week's The Right Hook, by the way.
Yeah, we were both getting really kind of pissed off. But hey, you know, you and the Rated R Republican should have done a 15-minute plug show. You know, it'll automatically.
Me and the Rated R Republican are lucky we can get any show together at all. Which, by the way, tomorrow night at 10 o'clock is the last Right Hook ever. We recorded our last show on Monday. It goes up Wednesday night on FromTheRightRadio.com. It was just kind of a show. Though you'll like how it ends. John has some last words that he shares. They are familiar last words if you listen to the 411 Ground and Pound radio show. So you're definitely going to want to give that a listen, either live on FromTheRightRadio.com or in the archives Thursday morning.
Oh, I have to do that just because I'm sure it's be safe and behave.
No, it's just
this is the only last words I recognize.
We're going to move right along here. Is this the other solo album? Is this the other one. Okay, does this one sound like okay, this one isn't an 8th grader's guitar lesson?
No, it's a 10th grader's guitar lesson.
Oh, great, fantastic. I'm excited now.
We moved to high school.
So, tell me about that. What's going on there?
It was just kind of a nice, mellow, guitar-driven intro to the next song. I liked it a lot better than the other one. The other one was kind of weird. This one I just felt like it was kind of just nice, soothing, pretty solid. So we've moved up to high school in this one. But I liked it. And it'll lead into a pretty good song in the next one. I feel like it's a pretty good closer.
Okay. and that is going to bring us to our last song of the night, the last song on this album at the very least. This is The Hammer Will Bite. Not smash, bite. So that was The Hammer Will Bite. Robert, take me home. Why should people go out and download or listen to on Spotify Grand Magus? What is it that makes it so wonderful?
No, one, I just absolutely love the vocals. That's a selling point for me. There's some really solid tracks on here, and there's even some great ones. This one isn't as good as their last album, or solid part of their older work I would have heard. But what they do offer here is there's a lot of really good things to be heard. And there's some pretty good shit, I must say. Some really nice, mellow, kind of like mellow tracks in there. There's some really good mid-pace songs. There's a few faster ones. There's also some straight balls that you can listen to over and over because they'll get stuck in your head and you have to get them out. But yeah, it's a pretty good album. I'm not quite sure if it's as good as Iced Earth because I remember we did that. I think that's the last one we did. No, that was Bro Down. Fuck, I'd forgotten that album. See, it was that worthless and useless that I'd forgotten about it. Now, the podcast was great. Album could go fuck itself. I don't care. But yeah, I wouldn't say this is as good as Iced Earth, but in terms of what we have gotten over this past near 2 months, we're in for something great, especially with power metal. Like, my favorite album so far of the year is by Storm Warrior. It is tremendous. Like, I'm almost wishing we would have done that instead. This was a really good album. I'm happy we did it. It's a pretty solid one. But Storm Warrior was just so good. Then again, nobody would have listened to it. Because I remember last time we did an album by a band nobody really listens to, in Civil War. Yeah, not many people listen to that one comparatively. But still, this is a really good album. It's worth a listen, and I think if you love the band and you really like almost like the Manowar cheese that they sometimes exude, I think you're going to like it. Just at least give them a shot. That's all I can really say.
Alrighty. We're going to go. That's really the end of this podcast. Like I said, in 2 weeks, we're going to do a body count retrospective, and I won't be wearing any pants. It's going to be terrific.
Dude, I've never worn pants. I don't think I've ever done a podcast wearing pants.
This is true. Pants, I think, interrupt the creative flow of a podcast. So, yeah, we'll be doing body count to celebrate, to honor Ice-T and his thrash metal band Body Count. So they have 4 albums. They have the self-titled, otherwise known as the Cop Killer album, and we will be playing Cop Killer because who doggy does that need a discussion. Born Dead, and then there were 2 albums that no one's ever listened to that followed it. So, by the way, I know the last one they have on there, Murder for Hire, I think it's called, is actually on Spotify. But do yourself a favor and listen to that one first. It's hilarious.
Okay.
And then on March 25th, it's the last one I'm going to do with Robert. Unfortunately, just the way the timing worked out, I could have probably snuck one more podcast in before I go on the Jonas Exodus, because really it's between the 7th and the 14th that we're going to be in the window where he's to be expected. He's actually not due until the 14th, but we have my daughter wasn't due until the 14th, and she's born January 5th. So we suspect that he'll be born sometime between the 7th and the 14th. So I probably could have snuck one more podcast onto the schedule, but unfortunately, like I said, everything that I want to do in April comes out April 1st, and that doesn't really give us time. I mean, I guess if we just didn't listen to it beforehand and, listen to it the day that it did the podcast the day that it came out, I don't know if that's something that you would want to do.
I mean, I'd be down for that. So you'd have to check the U.S. availability for some of those, because some albums come out in Europe before they hit us.
Mm-hmm. Well, the way that I looked
I'd
it up,
it
it looked like Steel Panther and Triple Brutal were both coming out in the U.S. on April 1st. That's what my little calendar here says. So which one do you want to – I mean, is that what you want to do? You want to I'll do one last show with you on April 1st. That'll end up being two shows back-to-back, because we're doing March 25th is actually the Metal Hammer of Doom favorite metal covers. And that was meant to be the last one, but if we sneak one more in here on April 1st, and then after that I'm done, which one you want to do here, Steel Panther or Austrian Death Machine?
I feel like Austrian Death Machine would be that'd be something that wouldn't hold up quite as well over time. I feel like Steel Panther, if we do Steel Panther later, that's fine, because people will probably still be looking for that. Austrian Death Machine, everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah, that dude that killed people. Yeah, so Austrian Death.
All right, so announcement. I'm gonna add one more show. I'm gonna add one more show to the schedule here, and we're gonna do April 1st, the day that it releases to the public. We're gonna do Metal Hammer of Doom, Austrian Death Machine, Triple Brutal. Hopefully that's on Spotify the day that it comes out. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna have to buy it from iTunes and quick listen to it. But I'm excited about that. I'm glad we're getting one more in before I go. So that's cool.
But before I go looking for a co-host.
Right. Okay. So in addition to that, this Tuesday, Sean Comer is still on his hiatus. He is searching for life, the universe, and everything, and we wish him well in his endeavors. Meanwhile, Patrick Mullen is coming on the podcast, The Long Road to Ruin. He's going to show me what's what in the butt. He's going to tell me what was great about the 80s as we discuss the Chuck Norris masterpiece trilogy, Missing in Action. March 18th is the triumphant return of Sean Comer on The Long Road to Ruin, and we'll be discussing the Evil Dead trilogy, and I can't sneak any more podcasts on. I flipped a coin, and Austrian Death Metal wins. So Austrian Death Machine, rather, wins. So that's the last Long Road to Ruin that I'll be on. But starting, I guess it would be April 8th. Make sure I have the dates right on these. Yeah, it would be April 8th. Will be him and Robert Winfrey holding it down, looking at Saw or whatever it is they're going to do while I'm gone. They're going to be they have a short list of movies that that I approved that they can talk about, and then there are some that I swore that if they did while I was gone, I was going to cancel my Blog Talk Radio account. So there.
You mean so they can't do the trilogy of Punisher movies?
Nope, not without me. They can't. They were going to do Blade, and I
Dude, that would be awesome.
Mary tantrum.
Oh, yeah,
I told them no, not without me.
No,
yeah.
No. So you're saying that if Sean does Blade without you, you're going to fly to Arizona, knock on his door, he's going to open it, you're going to punch him in the face, you're going to hop on a plane and fly back.
And yell, not funny.
Not funny.
That's right. So there will be no doing Blade without me. In any case, so that's what's going on in the Radulich and Broadcasting Network on my end. Every Sunday is the 401 Ground and Pound radio show. I will be back in the pilot's chair this Sunday, and we will have a special guest come on to do a rant about Alexander Gustafsson versus Jimmy Manowar, which is actually going to be happening, I believe, March. Either the March 7th or 8th. Hang on a second. March 8th in London. So we have a special blast from the past coming on to do a rant for us. So that'll be fun. You can also catch me on the Casual Heroes WrestleCast. You can catch Pat Mullen on the Championship Rounds podcast on the Casual Heroes. And in a couple of weeks, it'll be WrestleMania, and we're going to do exactly what we did for the Elimination Chamber. We're going to do our usual set of WrestleCasts, but on the day of the pay-per-view, we're going to do a quick 30-minute pick cast right before the show, and then we're going to do a live with callers, live post-show. So I want to take this moment to thank everyone who listened to the live post-show. Apparently, it was very well received. A lot of people listened to it. It was probably one of our most popular shows to date. So thanks. We hope you enjoyed it, and we're going to keep doing those because it was fun to do. I think people need it. When those pay-per-views are over, everyone's so amped up and they run to their computers to complain that Daniel Bryan isn't world champion. So considering the way WrestleMania is going, I suspect we're all going to need a large group therapy session. In addition to that, lastly, you can check out Robert Cooper and Jason Teasley on Thursday nights from the Cheap Seats Sports Show. He either needs to add Sports Show in the date or put some pictures up or something, but he can't just leave it in the Cheap Seats. He's got to put the date on there to differentiate from one podcast to the next. Or give it a fancy title, in the Cheap Seats.
Do what I do, make a shitty pun.
Yeah.
Orange glad. I went there.
I don't even know what's going on over there, but at least that's entertaining. The right hook. When we do the show, I kind of take from the bits that we did and I create a title out of it. He's got, you got to teach him, Cooper. You got to take him under your wing and show Teasley the way.
I mean, hey, I can host a podcast, so I'll be like, Teasley, you bitch.
And then every Friday night is Everybody Loves a Bad Guy with interim 401 host and author of Locked in the Guillotine, Robert Winfrey. This week I'll be on to talk the Joker because I must discuss the Joker. I am behooved to do so. So everyone, check that out. Robert Winfrey does a really good job with that podcast. It's a lot of fun to listen to. All right, I think that's everything I got going on. Robert, you have the floor for the next hour and a half. Go.
Ooh. Speaking of Robert Winfrey, I was on Everybody Loves That Guy last week. I was on there talking with him about X-Men villains. And it was really great. And it was a fun time. And we took a call or two. Yeehaw. I think Magneto, as we discussed in there, Magneto is the villain that they try to make an anti-hero quite a bit because he is semi-sympathetic. And awesome. So yeah, that was a thing. Looking forward to being on there again because when he's talking comic book villains, believe it or not, I know my comic book villains. Somewhat. That's right, because I was obsessed with comic books for 5 years. High school was a good time. But yeah, that's a thing. And speaking of things that are a thing, the Radulich and Broadcasting Network is more or less where every one of my fucking podcasts are. You have the aforementioned From the Cheap Seats with myself and Jason Teasley. And this week we're going to have a guest, his friend Jim, whose last name escapes me, and my computer's in my room, so I couldn't tell you his last name. But apparently the dude's kind of a big deal with fantasy football and whatnot. But yeah, we're going to be talking some fantasy football, some NFL draft, and Aaron Hernandez stabbing somebody in prison. That's hilarious.
Well, that's what you do.
Well, yeah, I mean, he shanked him with a shank. But yeah, me and Jason agree that as we've been getting, longer and longer in our tenure, all 3 weeks with him, we've only been getting better. Our chemistry's getting better. Apparently he compares me. I am the straight man of the two of us. Like he compared the two of us to you and Sean. A good compliment. So yeah.
Okay.
It's like awesome. Yeah. Well, kind of like Sean does like a lot of the ranting and whatnot. And Teasley does do a lot of ranting, and I'm like, calm down, boy, down, boy, down, boy.
Did you not hear the last Back to the Future podcast?
I haven't yet. No.
Don't tell me I don't rant.
Well, I mean, hell, I do a few rants myself. Hell, when we talked about the gay football player, I pretty much was like, yeah, I'm proud of the kid. Like, apparently I was the sane one out of the two of us. I don't know. But, yeah, it's a pretty good podcast. It's usually live Thursdays at 9 o'clock. So, yeah, give that a listen. Speaking of things that, aren't live. Well, technically they're live. But, yeah, the Sentai Writer podcast, or as Mark calls it, the Anti-Sentai Frentai Happy Go Fun Time podcast. Yeah, our viewership's really kind of declined because I haven't plugged it as well as I should have. But it's still a really good show. I am proud of this show. Hell, they got Jason Teasley to watch the shit. And now he's, like, really loving it. He's like, dude, this is so good, and the special effects are really good, and the story's good, and it makes me smile. Yeah. I made one fan. See, if I can make one fan for the tokusatsu genre, that means the podcast is a success. We're only 10 episodes in, boys and girls. That's right. Coming up next week, hopefully we'll actually be doing 2 episodes this week. We keep, falling asleep on Sunday, so we don't record the one from Monday. But we have episodes 16 through 18 of Kamen Rider Gone coming up. That's going to be coming. The first 2 episodes of the newest Power Rangers season, Super Mega Force. That's going to be a great podcast because I'm the voice of reason. My 2 co-hosts are like, it's shitty. I'm like, you haven't been where I've been. This is a lot better in the past 3 years. Yeah, that's a thing. We're also going to be talking about the newest Sentai series, Russia Sentai Tokyuger. It's really crazy and fuck. So, yeah. That's going to be a good time. Make sure you, go look for that around Saturday night, Sunday mornings, and Monday nights, Tuesday mornings, since those are the 2 time slots that are available for me to post them. So, yeah, that's the thing. Also, the Cooperative Multiplayer Podcast is on the Wrestling to the Max page on Spreaker.com. It's live. It's myself, Sean Garmer, and Daniel Anderson. We talk video games midnight on Saturday nights. It's pretty great. Yeah, we're me and Sean are flipping the host chair back and forth until Steven Randall comes back because he had a kid, and Oliver, and that's awesome. So, yeah, so he'll be back in a few months once the kid sleeps with night and all. once his sanity is reclaimed, and then he has to deal with me, where I troll him. Because it's funny, every time I come on Sean's sports podcast, his co-host Gary sends me to go troll Randall the next night. So, like the first time, he sent me to go see how many Richie Incognito puns I could make throughout the whole show. And that was well. And then the second time, he wanted me to see how many times I could get Anderson Silva's leg breaking. Since on the video game podcast, my reaction to that was live of, fuck. So, yeah, that was great. And then the last time it was see how many times I can make jokes about Kellen Winslow masturbating before Randall sees what I'm doing. Yeah. I got about 3 of them until he sounded like legitimately kind of pissed off. Well, it's because Kellen Winslow Kellen Winslow Jr. tight end for a few football teams. He was in his car just kind of whacking it, and he got caught, and it's really funny. So, yeah. Because we spent 20 minutes making just masturbation jokes on that podcast. It was great. But yeah, that's the thing. That's pretty much all for my podcasting. Well, I mean, I guess the 3 Beards. I'm not a part of the show, and I probably won't be until I can make it all the way down to Archdale, which is like a 45-minute drive on a school night. Yeah, I'm not making that. But I might be on there eventually. So yeah, go check them out on 336cast.com and on iTunes and Yeah, I mean, they're still my bros. I just don't listen to them because I can't download them because it's a pain in the ass. But yeah, that's all for my podcasting. Now, one last thing. The Hammer of Doom News Report, the thing that almost this podcast is named after, it is Monday nights / Tuesday mornings on 411mania.com in the Mutant Zone. This past week is a 2-week-old one because I sent it in and it didn't save, and then when I went to go get it from my WordPress account, it was all the stuff I typed was gone, so I had to retype it. So yeah, it's still a pretty good one. I talk about why there's never going to be another band like Metallica or Iron Maiden, and I feel like that's really interesting. There's some free music, new albums. I talk about Primordial, who are from Ireland, and they're amazing. So yeah, that's all for my plugs. I don't know if I went as long as Mark, but I hope I did.
Okay. It's now 1 a.m., and this podcast is finally over. So normally we go out to the official Metal Hammer of Doom outro that Robert cut up for us during my first hiatus. But I got a little treat for everybody, and a little sample of what you're going to hear in 2 weeks. I'm so excited that I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it. Be well, be safe, and behave.
Body count, body count, body count.
Yeah,
body
motherfucker!
Body count, 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 body count.